FitterAndFasterCampions.com. Fitter and Faster Tour. This fall. Be there.
This is the Morning Swim Show interview segment for Thursday, July 30th, 2009. I'm your host, Peter Bush, and all this week on the interview segment, we're celebrating the quarter-century anniversary of the 1984 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. And today, we're going to walk down memory lane with the hero from one of the American relays, Bruce Hayes, and he joins us on the phone right now from New York City. Bruce, nice to have you on the show.
Well, it's great to be here.
Well, take us back. You're on the blocks. You've got Michael Gross standing next to you, and you get a little lead, but nothing to make you comfortable.
Well, the plan was that we would put our fastest swimmer first, Mike Heath, and we would get this insurmountable lead, so that by the time it came around to me, we would have like a 2.5 or 3.5 second lead. I think at the time Michael Gross's individual 200 time was about 2 seconds, maybe 2.5 seconds better than my individual time. So we knew we had to have a huge lead. And when Jeff Float had turned at the 100, he swam the leg before I did, we had a lead that was that big. But as they were coming back towards me, and I was getting ready to take off, I could see that the lead was dwindling, and I wasn't sure how much was still going to be there by the time I took off. So I was very freaked out standing up there on the blocks because I knew that the plan that we had wasn't really playing out that way. So
go
together and not kind of push the panic button.
Go to plan B. So you dive in. You've got about a 1.5 second lead maybe, and it was almost a mirror image of what we saw in 2004. You're the cleat Keller in this scenario, and you're going against the world record holder, Michael Gross, a la Ian Thorpe. He catches up almost instantaneously, and what are you thinking at that point?
Well, the main thing that was going through my head was just stay calm, swim your own race, stick to your own race plan. Don't throw everything out the window now just because you're not in the situation that you thought you were going to be in. And I remember when I dove in, he made up so much time on the takeoff because he was so much taller than me that I really had to concentrate the first 50, the first 100, not to kind of get overexcited or panic. And I knew, my thing at the time, and I think the reason they put me last was because I finished really well. I had a great last 50. And so I knew that what I needed to do was to stay as close as possible in the first 150, that I could not let him pull away from me. And that's really what I was concentrating on and just talking to myself in my head about the whole way through.
So when he catches up to you and you can see him alongside you, at that point you're just hoping, oh man, I hope he doesn't, now surge ahead of me. And maybe you get that comfort zone that, look, we're going stroke for stroke, and I know that I'm a strong finisher.
Right. I mean, yes, and I was a little panic-stricken on the first 50, but then when we turned, and, the second 50, we kind of stayed together, and I think we turned at the 100 pretty even. I felt a lot calmer and a lot cooler, like, okay, this he hasn't pulled away yet. This third 50 is going to be really important to stay, don't get more than about a half a body length behind. And I also was thinking about how can I draft off of him. I got closer to the lane rope, all those things that you're thinking about, trying to stay in contact so that when I came off of the third turn and we had a 50 to go, I could just, start to kick and just put my head down and really try to get my hand on the wall first, which is what I did.
All right, you said they picked you to be the anchor because you finished strong, but was that like a last-minute thing? Was this decided way ahead of time?
Oh, actually, it was... I remember it was decided at the training camp. We had a training camp for about 2 or 3 weeks before we actually went to the Olympic Village at USC, and they came to me one day and said that they'd had a coaches meeting and they decided that they wanted to kind of mix things up and put Mike Heath first, who was our fastest swimmer, and put me last. And I remember that I was kind of surprised because I didn't expect them to do it that way. And I remember Mike Heath and David Larson, particularly afterwards, telling me how relieved they were that it wasn't them. So I think none of us at that time wanted to go last because we knew that it was going to be a very close race and that Gross was probably going to be anchoring for West Germany. So I just remember one of the memories I have is just them kind of being like, I'm glad it wasn't me. But they, they were very supportive, but it was kind of like a joke, like, oh, wow. So that I had to concentrate on for the next couple of weeks during the training camp, and that's how we practice our takeoffs, and that's mentally what I was preparing for was to go last.
Well, high risk, high reward. You get the glory for winning that relay.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you think last year watching Jason Lezak on that epic 400 free relay?
Oh, I thought it was amazing. I mean, I don't know how he pulled that out. I just was watching it the other night. They replayed it, and it was an unbelievable race. And of course, it took me back to 1984 and kind of how I felt, and it brought up a lot of memories. And I think it was an amazing race and an amazing leg on his part, and he showed a huge amount of heart to kind of go in when he did and make up that ground on someone who was
after you won
older at the time.
After you won that race, was there one specific comment that someone said to you, or an email? I don't know if they had email in '84, or a letter, or something that you'll always remember someone saying to you after that race?
Well, I remember that the day before I watched the individual 200, like the men's 200 freestyle, and I remember seeing Michael Gross swim, and he swam really, really well, and I think Mike Heath swam okay, and Jeff Float swam not that well. And I remember thinking, oh my God, this is not going to be good tomorrow. And I was really nervous. I was sitting with my parents who were there. I remember that night, leaving the village to go to dinner with them, and I had the medal, and I came back kind of late. Like I stayed out, just to hang out with them. And I remember as I was going back into the village, I was going through the the metal detector or whatever security thing to get back into the village, and the Australian coach was there. I can't remember his name, but one of those legendary coaches for Australia, and he was like, "Oh, it's you, it's Hayes, you're the hero." Like, I just remember him kind of screaming at me, but it was all very complimentary. But you don't realize it, but you may have turned in the race of the meet tonight. And I don't think it really dawned on me that relay would be one of the memorable moments of the swimming and the LA Olympics overall.
All right, that's Bruce Hayes. Bruce Hayes joining us from New York City today, walking down memory lane of that epic 1984 4x200 freestyle relay in which he held off the albatross, Michael Gross, to win the gold for the Americans. And that is our interview segment for today. We'll be back tomorrow with the news segment recapping Day 6 of those World Championships going on in Rome right now. I'm Peter Bush, reminding you to keep your head down at the finish.